cool and ridiculous sporting events like this one is something that Red Bull has been doing for well over 30 years in more than 50 countries. And they beg the question, how the hell is this profitable? So in this video, I will go through the historical approach Red Bull has to its branding, how these events can be profitable long term, and then we can learn about how we can apply these techniques to our own brand. Now, Red Bull needs no introduction, so I decided to pull up some statistics just to give you a broader view of how big they actually are. Now, first off, they sold for more than $10 billion last year, and that's more money than the GDP of some small African nations. It's more than what the NBA made last year. It can actually afford you a small 2-bedroom apartment in Manhattan, and since they sold 12 billion cans last year, they can actually fill Lake Crescent in Washington state. Now, Red Bull started out as an energy drink for the working class in Thailand back in the 70s, and it didn't go well at all for them in the beginning. But in the 80s, when a man called Dietrich Mateschitz came to Thailand and tried this product out, he really liked it and he took it back to Austria with him. And he, together with the original founder, rebranded it and made it a luxury product. He also made it sweeter and more adapted to the European market. So Dietrich Mateschitz took care of all the marketing locally in Austria, while the other owner, whose name for the life of me I cannot pronounce, I'm sorry, even though I speak Mandarin, he took care of the production back in Thailand. Now, Mateschitz, he focused mostly on young people who have an active lifestyle. So he targeted campuses. He used Red Bull girls, as he called it. Attractive women who just handed out a lot of free Red Bull around campuses, and he also delivered a lot of free Red Bull to nightclubs. And I know from personal experience back when I was a bartender back in Stockholm that whenever we got a huge delivery of Red Bull and we started using Red Bull a lot in our drinks, then everyone just partied longer, like the whole night, because everyone had a lot of caffeine in them. So it was fantastic for revenue. And this meant that these local bars started to reorder a lot of these Red Bulls. People seemed to like them a lot. He and his team, they put out a lot of empty Red Bull cans around campus and their trash cans and inside of the nightclubs, so the people could get the impression of that a lot of people are drinking this. After their initial success with young people over in campuses, they started to niche down on adrenaline junkies and extreme sports, just like this one. This is Flugtag, and it started in '92. And as you can see, the rules are very simple. You just have to jump over a 9-meter high ledge and fly as far as you can. You're judged on just 2 criteria. How creative is your construction that you made on your own together with your team, and how far you fly. And as you could probably tell, these constructions are usually not made to go as far as possible. The world record is around 80 meters, but they rarely go further than 20. And the reason is that people just enjoy building these huge constructions that very often are ridiculous. My favorite, for example, when I saw it in Stockholm, was a huge radio that was as big as a container. And they just rolled it out, pushed it over the edge, and it pretty much fell right into the water immediately. The reason why is because what I did after I saw it. I was impressed. I had never heard of it before. I pulled out my phone and I took a few pictures and sent it to my friends. This is a way of doing brand awareness, because during this event, all of these constructions had the Red Bull logo on it, and you could buy Red Bull for cheap, or they even handed out them for free. Now, I have to mention the Red Bull space dive if I'm going to talk about narrative-driven marketing. And just like in the TV series Fast and Furious, after you have done any adventure you can think of on planet Earth, where do you go? Well, space. So they asked Felix Baumgartner, who's a world-renowned adventurer and an adrenaline junkie, to together with him build a really huge team of engineers and space experts in order to build a spacesuit and a helium balloon that would take him to the very top of the stratosphere and let him jump from there. This event was viewed by hundreds of millions of people. Now, if you look at the footage again, you will see that Red Bull never intended to say all of this was made by Red Bull or put their logo in front of your face. They always just put their logo on the spacesuit, on the helium balloon itself, and that's about it, because the focus was always on the adventure or the adventurer. So how is all of this profitable? Well, there are 4 things you need to remember. And first off is, of course, brand awareness. I'm not only talking about the case when you walk into a supermarket and you see all of these energy drink brands and you pick Red Bull because that's the one you know and like. I'm also talking about the $1 million deals that Red Bull does thanks to their brand awareness. Let's say that you're sitting in an economy department in a huge company that has decided to build a stadium, but you need a business partner that can deliver drink continuously throughout every season. Well, then you're probably going to contact some beer companies, Coca-Cola, Fanta, but also maybe Red Bull, because you want the people who are coming to your stadium to drink something that they already know of and something that they like. And when we talk about digital marketing, then brand awareness is important because it increases what's called click-through rate. People will more likely click on your ad if they already know about your product. And you will also have what's called higher conversion rate. So more people who come to your website, they will buy your product if they have already tasted it and they already like it, compared to an identical product that just has a different brand. Secondly, events like this increase what's called the customer lifetime value. Basically, they create return customers. And the way they do it is they create the association between the lifestyle of the target audience and the lifestyle brand. So as long as you identify yourself as either a gamer or adrenaline junkie or somebody who loves extreme sports, then Red Bull will continuously be a relevant brand for you. Now, if we take the opposite, a normal product such as a normal pen that doesn't really have a brand, or at least not a well-known one, then as soon as you use the product, even if it did what it's supposed to do perfectly, you put it away and it's not relevant anymore. It's just a tool and literally nothing else. And you don't really have a reason to go back to it, other than you just ran out of that product and you can't find a replacement. So in that case, the customer lifetime value is more or less the same as the amount spent on the first purchase. The third thing that these events do is to create loyalty through emotional connection. If you feel excitement, happy, and you feel like this is a really cool event that you want to see more of, then you will simply engage more with the company. Now compare that and the excitement you would feel on being in such an event with picking up a product that you've never heard of and you don't really care much for it. Then you might use it once, but that's about it, unless it was an extraordinarily useful or tasty product, right? But because of this emotional connection, then that's one of the reasons why Red Bull's owner said to himself that we're not going to focus on the taste or the practicality of this product. We're just going to build the brand, and then people will flock to this luxury product. Number 4, last but not least, brand awareness through word of mouth. If you do things correctly and you create a massive event that attracts a lot of attention through a long period of time, and you do it on multiple occasions, you can make people become free brand ambassadors. For example, I was that. When I saw this event, I thought it was super cool. I took a few pictures and I sent it to a few of my friends that never heard of it before. Many brands have used this successfully. Netflix, Tesla, Tinder, Starbucks, ChatGPT, and many, many more companies didn't spend much money at all on marketing. People just really, really loved their brand or their product or solutions that they brought to the market. So I just want to do a huge disclaimer, because I just know that every single digital marketer who's watching this right now is thinking, this is all cool, but I would never do an event like this, even if our company could afford it. And you're probably right, and I probably agree with you for the following 3 or 4 reasons. Number 1, the obvious one, is that this is really hard to measure if it's cost effective or not. If you invest $1 million into an event like this and you get a lot of sales a month later, then you don't really know, like, were those sales because somebody recommended the product, or was it because specifically for the event? You don't really know. Next point is targeting. When you're making an event like this, you can't really do extremely targeted ads, just like on digital marketing, where you can not only target exactly location, the right kind of target audience, the people, you can also target exactly on the right time of day. You can't do that when you just do one event in one specific location, while you can do it in the entire country at the same time when you're doing digital marketing. So how do we use this information and apply it to your marketing strategy, especially if you have a low budget? Well, first off, you need to work on your brand. You need to ask yourself very typical brand-related questions. For example, what is your brand color? What is your brand story, mission, vision, target audience, and so much more. Now you can find all of these questions if you just Google them along with an AI. Now, assuming you've done that, you know what your target audience is, you need to find out how you can communicate with them in an engaging way. And if you want to learn more about how to do this, make sure to study big companies that started out with a zero budget for marketing. Good examples would be Bumble, Slack, WhatsApp, Dropbox, and many others. You read about how they did it, and perhaps you can get a few ideas of your own. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Please rate a comment on what you want me to cover next. I love talking about digital marketing, AI, and the ever-changing digital landscape. I've worked in the industry for about 6 years, more than 6 years, and but this is the first time I'm making videos about these subjects. So I'm all ears regarding what you think I should talk about. What is new out there, or something that you want me to do a lot of research on and try to explain it in a more interesting way. You take care, and I'll see you around.